Let's get to John Greco, who joins us on the fan hotline. Former Cleveland Brown, current Browns analyst. John, hello.
Gentlemen, good morning. Happy to be with you on a Wednesday, an NFL Wednesday in week.
You don't even remember. You don't even remember.
Yeah.
The season just goes over you now, and it's a blanket, and the waves are crashing upon you here. John, Sunday, and I know it's Wednesday, so we'll start to move forward here. But I don't think that they're going to do anything with Kevin Stefanski until the end of the season, or his staff until the end of the season, if they do anything. I think that that's on the table as well. A lot of people are reminding me in the emails. But do you believe that if they do something at the end of the season, that Sunday might have been Kevin's Waterloo? Because that was one of the worst starts I think I've ever seen. Probably since his debut against the Baltimore Ravens. Go ahead there, John.
I would agree with you. It was not good. They came out flat. They weren't organized. And in a hostile environment like that in Chicago against a team that's, trying to win their division and trying to get home field and has a lot to play for, I would have liked to have seen them come in and with a little bit more energy and focus and, play spoiler. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, they're tanking. Hey, this is it. This guy's getting fired. There's no one in there. A lot of injuries. And all of those things are true and can be true. But I agree with you. It almost looks like, I don't want to use the words giving up, but I think people are just so over it. And you could see it with the body language on the sideline. It's like, okay, you had the play card, wrist play sheet card debacle, and it just seems like people are rolling their eyes on the sidelines. It's just such a mess. And for them to come out and lay an egg the way that they did, and no one played well. It's not like one facet of the team tried to hold it together. And I was listening to you guys earlier in the week, and to your point, when we kicked that field goal, I was like, okay, there's some momentum at least. Let's get a stop. And then it just never seemed like we had a chance. So I agree with you, Ken. It just wasn't great from Coach Stefanski, and I'm aware of everything that people are saying, and I don't necessarily have all my chips in that he is actually going to get fired after the season, whether he should or should not. That's not what I'm saying, but I think a lot of people are going to be surprised one way or another.
John Greco joining us on the hotline. Obviously, in recent weeks, things have, with the exception of that fourth quarter really against Tennessee, things have gone from bad to worse for the entire offense. I put out numbers about Quinshon Judkins. 37 of his 82 carries have gone for 2 yards or less. So many negative carries. So it shows you that offensive line is having so many issues. So what can even be done at this point? Is there anything coaching-wise, or at some point, is this the talent you have and there's not much you can do about it?
I hate to say it, Anthony, but I think it's the latter. And there's only so much you can do from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then obviously Saturday during walkthroughs to try to get guys in there that are in there ready and prepared. And the three of us have talked about chemistry and all that nonsense when it comes to the offensive line for years that I've been on with you guys. And it's just hard to replicate that when you've had, 9 different starting combinations. And I think that's where they're at now. And, you don't have the veterans that you had, and people are hurt, and you have guys playing out of position in different positions and rotating and all of this stuff that we've been talking about over the past several weeks with this offensive line. But, yeah, I just think, you can definitely put a lot on that. And to say that coaching is able to just scheme something to where it can magically look better, I think is unrealistic. Now, they could try to do everything they can to be a balanced offense to try to help the offensive line in the run game. But at the end of the day, it's those 5 guys up front, plus the tight ends and whoever's working, on the edge of the line of scrimmage against the front 7 on the other teams. And it's just not getting done. Are guys, losing their one-on-one battles? Are guys in combination not getting off to the second level? Are there missed assignments? Are people late on their job? All of those things. It's not just one thing. And that's unfortunately why we've seen the decline in the average per carries and really the explosive runs offensively in the run game And I don't know if we can just get it fixed by, scheming something different.
What have you thought of Shador?
Well, I came on last week, and I told you that I thought Shador at least was playing like he deserved the chance to be in the conversation next year. And obviously he's going to be the starter to close this season out. And, yeah, he had a bad game against, one of the better defenses, and I think the Bears lead the league in takeaways. Now, the 3 they got probably got them over that hump. But that team takes the ball away. There were some bad throws. There was, obviously we know the Jerry Judy play where, maybe that could have gone the other way. But, a lot of the things that we're seeing from Shador are some of the negatives that we were concerned with coming out of the draft and during the preseason, and it was volatile during the preseason, if you guys remember. But I'm still kind of bullish on him. I don't know if there's a quarterback in this year's draft, if there's a quarterback on the couch, if there's a quarterback in any locker room in this league outside of maybe 1 or 2 that can elevate the play of the guys that are around him right now on this Browns offense. And I hate to say that, but I just think it's true. Can Josh Allen come out and magically, throw 3 touchdowns a game to Jerry Judy and Harold Fannin? Maybe, and use his legs? Maybe. But it just looks so different. It's hard to give anyone a fair shake with the state of the offense and really the state of the team. The defense has been a little bit banged up, giving up big plays. The special teams has been a total disaster, as we talked about for the last month in the majority of the season. So it's hard for me to sit here and be critical of Shador other than the things that we know. Hey, the footwork needs cleaned up a little bit. Is he going to know now, after the play action, is that linebacker going to be dropping in that zone to cover that slant and he's going to throw it right to him? He's going to learn those things. But, would people prefer it just be check down city like we saw the first, half of the season? Would you rather see Shador be 20 for 28 for 80 yards and they're all, 2-yard passes? Or do you want to see him be aggressive and try to throw the ball down the field? I think the second part, because that's how he's going to learn.
Jonathan Peterlin, I think, asked, and I want to make sure this question is asked right, so I might be getting it wrong here, but he asked Albert Breer if Shador Sanders was playing more for his NFL future or more for his Browns future. And I still think the best opportunity for him is probably with the Browns, because I do think a lot of people would like to get some nice value out of the position, and I think that this is a fan base that's very nervous about taking a quarterback at the top of the first round, especially after the recent history here. Do you think it's more of the NFL future, or do you think it's more of the Browns' future with him?
I think it's kind of both, leading with the Browns' future, and I agree with you and your take that this is probably his best chance to have success, long-term sustained success, because they have so much draft capital. And, obviously, yeah, there's the quarterback moves in recent years shouldn't make anyone feel comfortable. But wouldn't you rather see them, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, wouldn't we rather see whoever's making the decisions for 2026, bolster the offensive line, because that's obviously, who knows what's going on with guys that are hurt and guys that are rotating because they're hurt or if it's performance, and you have some veteran players and guys coming back from injury. But that room obviously needs retooled and refocused. So are they going to do that through free agency, through the draft? They should. They need to. Because, if you draft Mendoza or whoever in the draft, they're going to be running for their lives no matter what. And then obviously you need to have some weapons around them. So I just would like to see them build the offense, from the ground up and roll with a guy and try to develop a guy that's currently in that quarterback room. And then see if we get to a position where we're winning 8-9 games and they're not getting over that playoff hump because of quarterback play, then you worry about it. But look what they did to the defense last year. They drafted some young guys, and those guys, I don't want to say aren't making a lot of noise, because they are, but they just were plugged into a group that was a strength of the team, and they were able to grow and mature and play well and not have to win games on their own or create all these defensive plays on their own. They played like a unit. Where offensively, it's just like everyone's kind of looking around waiting for one guy to be the savior, and it's just not there. So rebuild the offense, retool the offensive line, get some guys, build some depth, and then have whatever quarterback's in there at least go out and play with some confidence.
All right, John, defensively, we've seen this in years past. We're a really good defense down the stretch with nothing to play for. We've seen some let up. I thought you could tell from the first drive against Chicago, maybe the second drive, because they did go 3 and out. The tackling was a major, major issue. And I know they have some injuries, and losing Malik Collins has been significant, much, much worse than I think any of us thought. Do they get an excuse for this? And is there any legitimacy to, hey, are they just trying to get Myles Garrett that record?
Well, I think they're trying to get Myles Garrett the record. Number one, I don't know if they're coming in the meeting room every day and they're like, hey, look, who gives a crap about the Bills? Let's just get sacks here for Myles. I don't necessarily think that's the message, because if that unit is playing well, that means Myles Garrett is playing well and he's getting after the quarterback. But no, I don't want to give them a pass, and that they have not been the issue this year, as everyone knows. And they've been susceptible to big plays, and unfortunately, they just don't have the offense to where if they do and they have a momentary lapse of technique or judgment or a mishap on defense, that they have the team around them that can bail them out. Good teams are able to do that. Or, if you look like the team we're playing, where maybe they're struggling offensively, their defense has found ways to take the ball away or keep them in games. The Browns defense doesn't have that. They've just been playing like they're their own separate entity all year, and they're just saying, hey, look, let's go out and take care of our business and try to put the offense and the special teams in the best position we can. And that's all that they can do. And try to create more opportunities, try to create turnovers. Let's pressure the quarterback, get after the quarterback, and let's just play nasty. And for the most part, they've done that. And yeah, it's late in the season. It was cold as heck as Sunday. I'm not trying to make excuses, but you're right. The missed tackles come in, and that's just a product of the end of the season, different guys in there, losing focus late in the year. But I'm not giving them a pass, but they certainly aren't the reason why we're in this position.
How much is I'm sure you hated tank talk when you were a player, right?
Yeah, it's weird when it's a different conversation when you're in that locker room, and obviously where I am now. So I'm more exposed to it and aware of it. And I'm like, oh, maybe all those hundreds of thousands of people that are talking about it are right. But go ahead.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if you feel the same way now as an analyst. Do you agree with tanking? Do you not agree with tanking? Like, I always try to put myself in their spot and be like, no, you don't want to tank. And I think some people think it's like a pride thing. I don't think it's just even a pride thing. I think I do want to see a real evaluation in this situation. And I want to be able to say that Shador helped them beat quality opponents before the end of the season so I can help the evaluation along.
Yeah, I'm with that last point. And I'll tell you guys this, and everybody listening, when I played, I was a part of a lot of losing teams. And when you're in that locker room and you're like, my God, I just got to play well. And you've heard me say this before, because I'm trying to be here next year or somewhere else. This is my job. So trust me, in the 11 years I've played, there was never a conversation where a coach, a personnel person comes into the locker room, the meeting rooms, and say, hey, listen, everybody, we're tanking. We're trying to get a better draft position next year. That has never been talked about. I've never heard that. Now, maybe captain, I don't even want to go there. But certainly when you're in the situation where you're like, my God, look, we have these guys that are rookie undrafted free agents that are, roster fringe guys, and we're signing people off practice squads, and you just have people that just got there, on Halloween that are now playing meaningful snaps. Does that maybe send that message, or is it just like, no, this is all we got right now? We're this late in the season, and we're dealing with injuries, and we're a bad football team, and this is just the reality. I think it's more that. So the tanking talk it's easier from this lens on outside of that building. But trust me, no one in that building gives a crap about tanking, and they don't want to hear that. That's nonsense in a player's mind, because when people talk about that, and if that becomes the reality, you're saying you're setting us up for failure on purpose to worry about a draft pick next year. And I just don't like that. So I'm aware of it. Again, on this side of the aisle and watching it, and of course the optics of everything looks like it, but I just don't understand how you can go out and tell players, hey, purposely play bad so we have a better chance to get a better player in next year's draft.
John Greco with us. I should have asked this question earlier. We only have about 90 seconds, but have you given up on Jerry Judy?
Man, again, it's hard for me to defend the guy, and he's a vet, and he's made a lot of plays in this league, but you have to wonder, why Denver was so quick to move away, and look what they're doing now. And he's been here, and he's made big plays, but he's also looked bad at times. And I just don't know if he's the one for the future of the Browns. Now, if they're able to maneuver something where he's not, and he's a 2 option, okay, I'm willing to be a little bit patient, but it's just hard for me to keep defending the guy from what we've been seeing on the film.
John, we thank you so much for the time. All the very best to you and yours. You take care now.
Guys, thank you.
John Greco on the Fan Hotline. Outstanding as always. All right, want to break that? Do you have anything to break down from there about what he just said about Jerry Judy?
Well, that and he basically said there's no fixing, doesn't matter who the coach is, there's no fixing this offensive line.
We got a lot of work, only a little bit of time, because if anybody in media is making declarations of what they would do with the Browns' future right now, they're setting themselves up to look like liars to you later.